Except where them hands, where them holes, where them throws, you know what I'm saying? Cecil.
Introduction. Remember, this is the series on my comments and reaction to Superhuman Octagon Culpability Martial Artists Kill Fight. That's not the right title. The right title is Superhuman in the Octagon and Perfect in the Courtroom, assessing the culpability of martial artists who kill during street fights. So we already did my own introduction. Now let's get to the introduction of the article. Introduction. In December of 2001, Brian Richards grabbed a handgun and entered the martial arts facility of Rafael Torre, a professional mixed martial arts fighter. Richards confronted Torre because he believed Torre had an affair with his wife. Though before Richards could pull the trigger, Torre disarmed him and applied a classic MMA chokehold to subdue Richards. Richards died as a result of the chokehold, and Torre was subsequently prosecuted for murder. During Torre's trial, the cause of Richards' death received much attention. Medical examiner testified that, although Richards' neck was broken, he died of manual strangulation caused by Torre choking him for several minutes. Accordingly, the jury rejected Torre's self-defense argument because applying a chokehold for so long far exceeds what is necessary to disable someone. He was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life without parole. Only Torre truly knows why he choked Richards for so long, but this comment suggests two likely possibilities. One possibility frames Torre as an innocent martial artist. In this scenario, Torre's instructors may have only taught him how to fight in the Octagon, the ring in which MMA fights take place, or his instructors may not have taught him how to modify his response to self-defense situations outside the professional fight setting because they were ignorant of self-defense law. When a real self-defense scenario materialized, it may have been so different from the context in which Torre had trained that he could not generate a defensive response without unlawfully killing his opponent. As a result, Torre may have lost his cool and acted like any person who loses his self-control. Had Torre instead executed skills designed with self-defense law in mind to generate a legally acceptable defense response, i.e. release the chokehold sooner and escape, perhaps the jury would not have convicted him. This first theory demonstrates a martial artist applying his skills as taught, but due to the gaps between his training, this real fight, this has got to stop. In self-defense law, he was convicted for an inappropriate response. This type of martial artist may be noble, but he and his system need education about self-defense law. So let me stop here for a second. A lot of people tell you that there's a difference between the dojo, dojan, kun, the ring, or whatever, in real life. See, that's why with Cecil martial arts, I'm trying my best to give you these basics, but to also train people for real life. Now, let me tell you something. A lot of times, we can't get to train you anything about real life because you don't practice your basics enough for us to depart from the basics to train you for real life. And not only that, I can tell you as an instructor, when you are telling people not to do this, not to do that, when you tell them not, and don't reinforce this fantasy or desire that they have to try to be the baddest mofo in the blizzo. What is the blizzo? What? I'm tripping. You know what I'm saying? They hate you and they want to go someplace else where you're either going to tell them, teach them how to win trophy after trophy, okay, or reinforce this super uber violent hyper macho fantasy, or in the case of women, this ultra feminist fantasy that if anybody is so much as breathes on me wrong, I'm going to destroy them with my pinky and I'm invincible. And that's if you're not dealing with people who are going to sit back and go, oh, that stuff doesn't work anyway. Well, obviously the stuff works. Somebody died from using a chokehold. Okay, that doesn't make MMA bad because MMA comes from other martial arts. We're not going to be able to get out of this traditionalist by just saying that's MMA, they're bad, we're TMA, we're different. The public, according to my worst fears, is just looking at martial arts as martial arts. They think the cage is everything. And so they think that whatever happens there is what happens anywhere. But as a lot of traditionalists are fond of saying, a lot of our stuff is geared towards combat. That's why it's too deadly to use in a ring. So really any stylist, if we don't know how to scale our stuff back, how to alter it and tweak it so that we have different uses of force, you don't just go from 0 to 100, we are setting ourselves up, we're possibly setting our students up to go to jail. And any students watching this, stop getting the tube and the rolling of the eyes or thinking that your martial arts instructor is a wimp because we're trying to keep you out of jail. We're not trying to stop your fun. We're trying to stop you from killing someone unnecessarily. Yes, life is unfortunate. There might be times where you may have to use deadly force. But even if you do use deadly force, unfortunately, since you're a civilian and you're not a you're not a law enforcement officer, you gotta know when to turn it off. Now, me personally, I think it's unfair to expect anybody, even a martial artist, to just, oh, I'm just gonna turn it off when this person just tried to shoot me. Okay? I don't think that's fair. I don't think it's reasonable, but guess what? I don't make the rules. Keep watching this series. We got a lot more to come. Peace.